Yeah, man, I was 37, sitting in front of the doctor at the hospital there and being told that they'd confirmed that I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. I mean, that's pretty much all I heard. I was just numb after that. Everything else they told me was just a blur.
You're listening to Against All Odds, my face-to-face discussions with everyday people who inspire. All right, on the show today I have Mark Hobbs. Hobbsie as I know him. How are you, man?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm pretty good, brother.
Yeah, that's all right.
Pretty good. I wanted to get you on the show to talk about how you've been recently diagnosed with cancer and you've come back to fight that after your chemo. I thought it might be helpful for some people because cancer is not a lonely disease, obviously. We lose quite a few people from that disease.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be helpful to get you on and an inspiration to some people, you know, because you're only a young fella, to see how you battled with it and how you're mentally dealing with that.
Yeah, cool. No, I've listened to all of your podcasts so far, and it's been really good.
Oh, you listen to them?
Yeah, I've heard all of them at the moment. So yeah, pretty stoked to be on today.
No worries, man. What do you think?
Awesome.
Yeah,
really inspirational people. Hey, like just the positive attitude of everybody. It's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that, mate. Why don't you give us a brief background on who Mark Hobbs is?
Okay, 38. I was born in Rochdale, born and bred Springwood area. Lived there for, I think it was 24 years we lived there. But yeah, I'm now down the Gold Coast, northern end of the Gold Coast, Coomera. Yeah.
Just a general normal person, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Grew up playing footy and, yeah, got 4 brothers. I'm the second youngest, so I've got 3 older brothers, one younger who's actually now my boss. Yeah, so.
And you're, bossing what do you do? You're a chippy or something?
I am, yeah, like a labourer, I guess. I'm doing my trade at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So what have you been doing with yourself for the last 15 years then? Security, weren't you?
Security, yeah. So I was in security for 17 years now, I think it is. And then I left there midway through last year. So I've been working for my brother since then.
Okay, so let's talk about, so there's a brief background. Let's talk about your cancer, mate.
Yep.
So as I said, you're the youngest of the group of friends that I have that's been diagnosed.
Yeah, came as a fair bit of a shock, yeah.
Yeah, it did to everyone. Why don't you tell us a bit about how it actually happened? Like, how does that process happen when you go in and you find out you got cancer? I mean, was it you were just feeling shit, or you had lumps somewhere, or?
Yeah, no, I felt all right. It was more lumps that I had in my neck. I noticed it was one main one, and it sort of was slowly growing over it was over a period of about 6 months. And I was a little bit concerned about it, but not too much. You know, you get lumps and stuff on your body all the time. I wasn't too concerned overly. I mentioned it to my mum, and she sort of said, "Oh, look, you need to get it checked out." She had a feeling that it could be Hodgkin's disease, Hodgkin's lymphoma. And
sorry, what's it called?
Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was pretty certain that it wasn't. I did have a feeling that something may have been wrong, but you try not to, you don't give that any thought. So yeah, I went and got it checked after a bit of a nagging from mum, and the doctor was, he was okay. He said, look, we'll just get a test done on it. I don't think it's anything to be worried about, so we'll just do that. I got an ultrasound, I think it was, on it. That didn't show anything up. They sent me for a fine needle biopsy, where they just put a bit of local on that spot. They stick the needle in, take a bit of a core sample. I got that done. That came back with inconclusive. So from there, he sent me to the cancer department at the PA hospital. And
this is over the course of how long?
It would have been probably from when I very first found the lumps. It would have been, I reckon, 4 months. Yeah, by that stage, I had a second lump that I could feel come up, and I got a little bit more concerned then, especially, like the tests would come back inconclusive.
Do you have family history of cancer?
I did on my grandfather passed away from cancer that was caused by smoking.
Yep.
And that was on my mum's dad, and then my dad, his sister passed away from asbestosis, which is cancer caused from asbestos from kids, and also my uncle, her brother, also passed away from cancer. That was a couple of years ago, that one. So yeah, there's been 3 people.
So it's a few cases in your family and close members and things. So what talking me through the second lump.
Yeah, well, the second one started to come up. I noticed it wasn't as big as the first one, so that sort of got me a little bit more concerned then with that lump, especially with the test coming back inconclusive. So I went along to the PA and the oncology there, and I saw the doctor there, and he had a feel of my neck and booked me in. They were going to do a full biopsy on it, which they cut you open and remove part of the lump or the whole lump, and they send that away for testing.
Because just so listeners know, you're a pretty solid lad.
Yep.
Just run through your dimensions for us.
All right, so I'm about 6'4", fair bit over 100 kilos.
How big are you?
I'd say about 140.
At that time, 140?
Oh, at that time, probably 150.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. So fairly big.
Yep. Double D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, went along and did that, and the doctor booked me in for that with the ear, nose, throat specialist for an appointment there. Had a feel on my neck. He said, look, without doing the tests, I can, if I had to make a judgment call on it, I'd say that you do have a form of Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Which is what you thought you didn't have.
Yeah, which is, I was pretty certain I didn't have it. Mum was certain that I did, so it was, but I had a bit of downtime between getting my test done or getting the operation done for the biopsy and that. So, Mum was pretty worried about the whole thing. So Dad was as well. So I was a little bit hesitant on telling them that after the appointment. I stopped in to see them on the way home. Actually, on the first place I went was my brother's. He's on the way.
But this isn't a confirmed diagnosis yet, is it?
No, it wasn't. No, it was just what the doctor said. If he had to make a call on it, that's what he thought it was. Right. I stopped in and saw my brother and sister-in-law on the way home. Just spoke to them a little bit briefly about it. Just what I should do, because Mum had been pretty concerned. I didn't want to say what he told me. I didn't want her stressing out any more as it was. So I sort of, when I spoke to my brother and that, I sort of said, look, I don't want to say anything. I'm letting you guys know because I need to tell somebody. But I don't want you to tell Mum and Dad what I've told you. Like, if they ask you, just say that, they didn't know that they were going to wait. So
inconclusive.
Yeah. So anyway, I went in for, I think it was about a week later. Normally it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to do the biopsy with the appointments and things. But it was only a couple of days that I went in to see the specialist there, and he had a look at it and told me what he was going to do, and went a bit through the operation. You'll be coming in the morning, we'll do it about lunchtime, you'll be out in the afternoon. Not a major operation in terms, it's only a small one. There is a slight risk with the sensors, your nerves, where it was, because it was in the side of my neck. There's a main nerve that runs up the side there, which has all the feeling for your face and ear and things on that side. And he said, look, that's not in the way where it is now, so, you shouldn't have any effect of that, but I just need to let you know about it. You'll end up with a couple of stitches, which will be, was the first stitches I've ever had, luckily. I don't know how I survived that my whole life, not having stitches, but, you get lucky with it, I guess. But, so I went and saw him, and then he booked me in for the operation, which was only a week later, so everything happened really quick from that moment. So I went in and got there in the morning for that. I was pretty nervous because, I've had operations before on my knees from football and things, but it was a bit more serious. up near your neck area, that they've got to tell you the worst case scenario and everything, I guess. So had that done. Well, went in for that. It was a pretty nervous wait. We sort of waited all day in there for that one, and went in the afternoon, and had the operation done. And the next thing I know, I was in the recovery ward, and the nurse was saying, "Oh, look, we've just got your dad on the phone. What's happened is, it was a bit more than what they first thought, and with it being a little bit later, you're going to be staying in overnight now." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Sort of not really with it yet. And the lady gave me my phone, which was Dad, and he just said, "Oh, look, I'll pick you up in the morning." She's told us, what's happened.
So what had happened?
Well, it ended up being the lump that they removed was when I didn't realise how big it was, and I was still sort of out of it. I remember having a bit of a weird feeling on my neck there, but what ended up happening was the lump that they removed was about the size of a golf ball, and I ended up with, I think it might have been 7 or 8 stitches. It was a fair size cut anyway. It's about 10 centimetres down the side of my neck, and with the size of it, to remove it, he did actually have to cut the nerve. So even now, I still don't have full feeling in that side of my face and my ear. So it's a bit of a strange feeling. It is starting to come back, and they think that they said it could take anywhere up to 12 months to get it back if I do ever get it all back. So it's just a process of waiting. But yeah, it is slowly coming back from what it was. So Dad said, we'll come and see you and whatnot. And I sort of, okay, yeah, no worries. And passed back out again, sort of fell back asleep and woke up. I think it was about 8 o'clock that night. And my brother and sister-in-law and 3 of my nieces were there, and my dad. 3 of my nieces I think were there. They'd come in to see me just to make sure I was all right. And my oldest niece, she looked at me and sort of went all pale and almost fainted. And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's going on there?" type thing. And yeah, so the nurse was actually in the room at the time, and she sort of grabbed a chair and sat her down, and she was pretty disgusted looking at me. I was like, "What's that bad?" I didn't even realise, and I got my brother to take a photo of my neck, and what it was there was actually a drain that was in my neck for the swelling and things like that, which, yeah, she obviously doesn't like the sight of blood or something, so it made her pretty squirmish. But yeah, I was pretty looking at the photo. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no worries, I can see that." But yeah, so that was the start of it. Did that, came out the next day.
And so you have to wait how long before you get biopsy results?
It was a week.
So 1 week?
Yeah, so that was on a Friday, I believe I went in Friday, and it was the following Thursday. With the oncology department at the PA, each day is a different type of cancer. So when they see the patient, so Thursdays was my day for lymphoma day. So yeah, it was the following Thursday I went in and had the appointment with the doctor, and during the time, I don't know if it was then or after, but anyway, Dad, came in with me just to see how I was. He wanted to make sure everything was all right. So I went in. Dad came in the appointment, and that was where they confirmed what I had, which was Hodgkin's lymphoma. Actually, no, sorry, I was on my own when I had the first one, and they confirmed it, which was, it was a fair bit of a shock. Like, when you're sort of young, I'd only just finished playing football that season as well, last year. And when I look back, I can sort of see my health may have been affected a little bit leading up to it. I started to get a bit of fitness up the start of the year with football training and things like that. But the first game I played, I actually fractured my leg. So I was out for 6 weeks with that. But after that, I just seemed to struggle to get my fitness level back up. So I noticed, obviously, looking back, then that was part of what was happening. But yeah, so it was a fair bit of a shock to even though I'd had feelings leading up to it, that it may have been something a little bit more serious. So you still don't prepare yourself for that news. So it was a bit of a shock driving home from that thing. There's a lot that they went through, which once they said, "Oh, this is what it is," the rest of what they say is sort of a bit blurry on.
Just dead space.
Yeah, it doesn't sink in. Like, you're not concentrating what they're saying, or your mind is just stuck on that one. Okay, well, this is what you've got, and you're just going over and over that rather than listening to what else they're saying needs to be done. And I remember, there was a lot that I had to get done. They were going through, booking me for different tests, and there was so much involved with what they have to do even before they start treatment. So things like lung tests, because you can get permanent lung damage from the treatment itself. They go through a little bit through the process of the treatment. For me, my treatment originally was chemo.
Hold on. Before we go into your treatment stuff, let's get back to your initial diagnosis. So you're on your own.
Yep.
And
So
you drove yourself to the hospital?
I did, yeah. I drove myself in for that one.
Was that a conscious decision, or did you just not want to take anyone in?
I guess it was. I was still didn't want to believe that there was anything. So I wasn't too concerned. You always have that in the back of your mind going, oh, so you've got to make yourself be prepared in case it is the worst. Just, consider all options. But I didn't really want to. So I was like, no, I'm all right. I'll take myself in. I was on my own for that initial results for that.
Do you wish you had have taken someone else in?
Only for the fact that I didn't hear initially everything else that they'd mentioned. There was a lot of info that I was given that sort of just went straight over my head because I was just
in shock.
Yeah. Well, you're in shock of it, So yeah, for that reason. But I guess for the diagnosis, I was okay with it, in the fact that I didn't need anybody to be there. I was all right, but I mean the drive home, that was pretty full on.
Was there a few tears shed?
Yeah, there was. I'll admit it. Yeah, it's a pretty emotional. They did say out of all the ones cancers that you could have, Hodgkin's lymphoma is the better of them, because it's not. If it's treated, then it's not terminal. It is one that can be treated, and. Yeah, so I mean there was that positive with it.
Did they tell you it was quite common?
Yeah, they did say that it is fairly common.
What is that, 1 in 100 or?
Probably around that. Yeah, but the thing is, there's no actual. From speaking to the doctors and what I've looked up myself, there's no actual specific cause for it. You can't put it down to smoking can cause certain ones, or asbestos can cause this and that. There's not. I guess if you're unlucky and you're susceptible to it, then you end up with it. It's not one that targets a specific thing.
So your drive home, because I would imagine you'd be trying to pinpoint where that happened. What did I do wrong?
And that's it. Your mind's just flying through, So, it was pretty hard drive home. I ended up going to mum and dad's, and talking to them and just saying, look, this is what it is. And yeah, I mean, they were in a little bit of a shock, but mum sort of said, look, I knew something was wrong, and I did think this what it was, but you still don't want to consider it, you know what I mean? So she was in a bit of a shock, and I did mention to him that I'd had a little bit of time to sort of prepare, because the doctor in that first meeting told me that if he had to make a choice or a decision on what he thought it was, then this is what he thought it was. And yeah, mum was a bit upset that I didn't tell him that. So she thought, she was a little bit concerned that way. But yeah, it was pretty hard to tell the family, what you've got. So after, my brothers had been told, I'd spoken to each of them through the week leading up to it, just explaining what the process was, and they were always ringing me to see how I was and what was happening.
So did you get everyone together and tell them all at once, or?
No, I one of my older brothers lives in Tasmania, so I rang him and spoke to him about it. and my other brother's local. Well, I was working with my younger brother, so I spoke to him the next day at work. Actually, I sent him a message on the way home. And then, my other two brothers, I phoned up and spoke to them. So yeah, told the family what was going on with that. So yeah, I mean, it's a fair bit of a shock to the system, and it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I guess that first couple of days, you just don't know what they give you a list of stuff that you need to do, tests to be booked in for, and everything like that. So I had to get heart tests done. I had to get lung tests done. I had to get all your full blood tests done, that's a normal occurrence now anyway. But just all different tests that you need to go through, so they can, I guess, gives them a full picture of what's happening. So there was all of that. Then it was quite funny. The next day I got a phone call. Actually, it was that afternoon I got a phone call from the doctor, which I missed the phone call. And I had a message from her, so I had to ring back. And what it was she just asked, like, have I got kids or anything like that, if that was something that I'd looked at in my future. And I hadn't sort of considered that side of it. She said, look, just as a precautionary, if you haven't, then you need to go to a donor bank, and, we can put some sperm on freeze and that for you, just for something down the road. And I mean, that was just something that blew me away. Like, I hadn't even considered that.
So you've got to take yourself off the floor, pick yourself up off the floor, and then get yourself to donate some.
Yeah. And I was like, and that was a phone call. You sort of like, okay, yes. And she's like, oh, yeah, just a different question she was asked me with it. And I was like, wow, I guess there's nothing that's kept secret anymore. Like, just the information and sort of things that they ask you, like, with that. And yeah, it was pretty weird feeling.
Pretty confronting.
Yeah, well, definitely, yeah, 100%.
So what treatment did you opt for? Did they give you choices, or is it just, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to try, and this is what works for 90% of our patients?
No, they basically, there's no choice. They have their set treatment, which they have planned out. So originally my treatment that they'd planned out was 6 months worth of chemo, or 6 cycles. So each month is a cycle. So that was the original plan for my treatment. And at that stage, they weren't looking at radiation as a treatment as well. It was just chemo. And then, because they do PET scans and things like that, after it was determined, they sent me away to get a PET scan done, and that highlights any areas of concern. And when they did that original one, there was something that showed up in my abdomen as well. It was only very small, so they were a little bit concerned with that. So they'd put they've got the levels of treatment, or levels of where you're at with your sickness. So from 5 to 1.
1 being the least and 5 being the...
Yeah. And mine, when I was first diagnosed with the one in my abdomen as well, I was a 4. Mm-hmm. So it was a more serious one, though, concerned because it had spread. And what they do in there, every month all the doctors get together and they do a review on every case. So when I went back to mine for my appointment, I was there every 2 weeks. They'd reviewed it and they determined the one that was in my abdomen wasn't actually one, so they've reduced my level back to a level 3. So then my treatment had dropped from 6 cycles of chemo back to 4. So I was pretty happy with that. Like, it made me feel a lot better knowing that I had a shorter time, but also it hadn't spread. So that sort of eased off. With,
How did your friends and family take the news?
Well, everyone was pretty shocked with it all.
Because I saw it you actually announced it on Facebook is where I saw it.
I did, yeah.
You didn't even give me a call.
It wasn't something that I wanted to put out there.
Yep.
I told.
Why is it not what you want to put out there? Is it because, and this is not just you.
No.
Is it a pride thing, or you don't want to burden people, or
I think it
you
is.
know, it's not. It's. Do you think I've got it? You know, people have got it worse than me, which is a common occurrence I've found with all these interviews that I've done.
Yeah, 100%.
Why did you not want to put it out there?
It's
Because I think it's a time for, you know, letting people know and saying, if you're my friend, come and help me.
yeah,
Be supportive.
yeah, definitely. Looking back now, like, it was a good thing that I did put it out. The support and everything I had's been incredible. Like, it's just, to me, I guess it was more, like you say, it was more of a pride thing. I didn't want everyone feeling sorry for me or anything like that. Like, I was okay sort of where I was, especially knowing that it wasn't a terminal one. There's, you know, you sit in that.
Right. So hold on one sec. So it's not terminal.
No, it's one that's treatable. If it's not treated, then yeah, it will become terminal.
Right.
But yeah, if it's treated, then it's one that can actually be, see, it can be treated and it can be
Beaten.
Yeah. Not you, instead of going into remission, you can actually beat it, get rid of it altogether.
Yeah.
So I mean, as scary and as well, I was shit scared, I guess, to be honest. But I knew that there was a lot more people out there that had hell of a lot more serious cases than I did in it. But also, you've got all the ones that don't have that luxury of having one that's treatable. You know, there's a lot of terminal ones out there, and I didn't, you know, like, it's pretty shitty to go through, I guess. But I'd hate to imagine, like, people that are going through it that have no positive, like, they know it's a terminal one. Just that outlook to know, well, at the end of the road, there's, yeah. So I didn't want that, where everyone was feeling bad for me, because I guess there was the pride side of it as well. Like, I was like, no, I'm sweet. You put on a front, you know. But I had a hell of a lot of support from my family. I can't thank them enough, and my friends, you know, like, it was just incredible, the phone calls and stuff I had, you know, from friends bringing food around, like, just frozen meals, you know, just cooked up some frozen meals. So for when I was feeling down and shitty, like, especially after treatment and stuff, I didn't have to worry about it. Like, I had food there that I didn't have to get up and cook everything. You know, it was.
Can I ask what you're shit scared about?
More I hate needles. I'm petrified of needles, man. Like, and I guess this is probably the worst thing to have if you're petrified of needles, because the amount of needles and jabs I've had over the last 6 months is just incredible.
So that's what you're shit scared about.
Oh yeah, like, it's just the unknown too. I know you hear all the cases of what people have gone through. Chemo treatment itself is pretty nasty. I didn't fully understand what it was, and
because it breaks down your immune system, doesn't it? Everything.
Yeah, it attacks your cells. So healthy or non, basically it poisons you. And that's how it's treated, because all your healthy blood cells or all your healthy cells rejuvenate quicker than your cancerous ones. So that's how they treat it. They give you the chemo, which attacks all your cells, drops your immunity, just attacks your body pretty much, but the cancer doesn't repair itself as fast. So your body gets its energy and everything back, its health starts to come back, but then they hit you again. So it's just that cycle of getting a little, you know, your cells rejuvenating, bang, getting hit again, rejuvenating, hit again. And your cancer, because it doesn't rejuvenate as fast, just keeps less and less and less.
Yeah, so the constant bombardment of that poison just kills it off. Yeah. And then allows your own immune system to get onto those unhealthy cells.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes, your treatment that you receive is based on two things. It's your age and your weight. And being young and fairly heavy guy, in the doctor's words, they gave me supersized dose. So I got pretty slaughtered with mine. Like, if there's four drugs, I think there's 4 types that you get, which is A, B, V, D are the 4 letters of them. I don't understand like what each of them are, but some people get one of them, some people get 2, 3, 4. I was on 4, with them, and I was getting pretty full on doses. Some of the patients get their treatment split over 2 days, but mine was all in. I was getting hit within 1 day, like sitting in one session. So what it is you go in, they do a blood test every time you go in. They do blood tests just to make sure everything's okay, and then you sit down. They put a drip in your arm. It's a cannula in your arm, but it's random. It goes on top of your forearm. It's not. I always thought it would be in your wrist or in your elbow, where they take blood and things like, or a normal drip, an IV drip or something. That's where I assumed that they would put it in, but because it's a lot more like a larger amount and things like that, it goes in the top of your forearm. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm petrified of needles, and they hurt. They're a fair size old needle that goes in, and yeah, so you sit down, and each session I was in took about 3.5 hours. So it's a long time just to be sitting there having stuff pumped into your body.
Yeah, just load it up.
Yeah. But I mean, I was lucky because Dad mum and Dad are both retired, and Mum didn't want me going to this on my own. So each treatment I went to, Dad was there. So he sort of said, look, I'm not working or whatever. I've got the time off. Like I'll come with you. So you got somebody with you, which was, I can't thank him enough for that. Just to have somebody there. So each of my cycles
must be comforting.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially being your dad.
Yeah.
Because that's what dads do, and mums.
Yep.
Having them there. What how long did that treatment last, mate? So you did full 3 months?
No, they cut it down. They didn't tell me until I did 2 months of it.
Yep.
And when I went in for the last one, they said, "Oh, look, we've been, you're reviewing your case, and we want to send you off to do another scan." And he had a feel on my neck, and he said, "Look, you've been responding pretty well to the treatment. So we're going to do another scan and see how we go. And if it's showing up, like if it's gone, or depending on how it's reacted to, your cancer's reacted, is to how we're going to continue your treatment." So he said, looking at it, worst case scenario, you're halfway through. Best case scenario, as of today, or you've got no more treatment. I was like, oh, okay, right. Well, that sort of comes as a bit of a shock, I struggled through like the first part, but I was in a positive because I knew, like I said, worst case scenario, I was halfway through.
Yep.
So yeah, they'd booked me in, and I went and done another scan, and the results came back that it was all cleared. So because of getting the supersized treatments, it annihilated what was there. So so I went and got that. And
how hard was it for you, being a working man, having bills to pay, responsibilities and things? How hard was it for someone in your position to go through this treatment?
Real hard. Like I mean, my job's pretty physical. The doctors didn't want me to actually work. They wanted me to quit my job. They don't recommend that you work through treatment. I wasn't in a position to be able to do that with, like you say, with all my bills and stuff. Everyone's got bills and stuff to pay.
So you worked through your treatment?
Yeah, I worked through. After my first one, I was okay. It sort of takes a couple of days before it really takes effect. So you go in and get your treatment. It was always on a Thursday afternoon. So
mate, can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
Why did you work through the treatment? Because surely you've got 1,000 people that love you, mate, and you've got family that want to look after you.
Yeah.
Was it again the pride thing?
It was, yeah. It's a pride combined with the burden. I guess I didn't want to be a burden on people. I don't like.
Did you? Perhaps it was, you thought if you were working, you'd remain positive and aiming for a goal or something.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to try and. I guess that's. It was mainly a pride. Like I didn't want to be one to lay down and go, look, no, I can't do it. I'm buggered, or I can't just give up like that, or not give up, but you know what I mean. Like I wanted to try and work.
Stay active and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I didn't want to be beaten by it. So
Did you reflect on much when you first got your diagnosis and, even though you knew it wasn't terminal?
Oh, massively. Massive. Because they can say, oh, yeah, it's not, it's treatable, but they did say that there's a percentage that aren't treatable. I know, like I did say, yeah, it's one that's not terminal, but in effect it is. It's just not more, it's a lot less likely. So there is always that percentage that it is not treatable, like, and it won't respond to treatment. So you've always got that playing on your mind, like, am I that small percentage that this has happened to? Yeah, I had to, it messed me up for a bit, and I still, even now, like, I still struggle a little bit at times with it.
When you say struggle, what do you mean? What
just
happens?
With thoughts going through my head all the time. You're like, I don't know, you've just got so much going on, and like, I struggled so much with sleeping and just with everything. Like, I got down for a bit there, especially after I got diagnosed with it. There is a lot of just soul searching, like, just lost. You just feel lost. And yeah, there was a hell of a lot of reflection I did, and I did spend a lot more time with everybody, and that was a conscious decision. Yeah, my bad, sorry, man. But like, I always looked at the fact that I've got so much, not wealth wise or monetary wealth, but so much other wealth in my life. So much love and stuff from all my family and friends, and like, I still had a lot of positive to look forward to, and that's what got me through. And like, I would sit in there in my treatments and things like that, and just look around, and there were so many people in there that were so much worse off than I was. Like, you just, it's unbelievable, and just how common that it actually is. That's the bit that surprised me when you finally talk to people about it and explain, what's going on. They're like, oh yeah, this, I got a friend that had this, or I know somebody that had that, and this person's got that, and you think, wow, it's that common in the world that you don't realize just how many people are going through it.
But no one prepares you for it.
No.
So no, they don't teach you about it at school. They don't teach you about it in workshops or anything.
No.
There's no preparation for that news.
Yeah, definitely.
Just on a personal note, what do you think cancer's caused by? I know there's a million conspiracy theories about big pharma and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, smoking is a massive part of it. I was a smoker. I was a smoker right up until, I think it was only like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before I was actually diagnosed that I gave up. I think when I started or with the doctors, like, getting my results back as inconclusive and things like that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a wake up call. Like, you need to sort out what's going on. Like, give up the smokes, and I think, to me, your main things, obviously, you've got certain things like asbestos and things like that, which are a massive cause, like, with my auntie. But to me, it's smoking and unhealthy lifestyle. And I look at that, and like you say, you reflect on a lot of it. To me, and I'd read over the year, a lot of people have said it is shift work. Shift work's is not healthy for a person, and I've done shift work for, like I said, with security. That was basically all we did. Was a 4-day rotating roster. So you do 2 days and 2 nights. So your sleep pattern's destroyed. Your eating patterns, there's just no pattern. You're all over the shop, and I look at that and think, okay, well, that's got to be a major factor in what it is. Plus, and I'll admit, like, I'm definitely not the healthiest person around. Like, I eat a hell of a lot of shitty food. Well, I did. I sort of stopped eating it. Like, I was living on takeouts and stuff like that.
And you and I both share a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
And we love our puddings and our cakes and our chocolates.
Yeah.
That tastes yum.
Definitely.
They're hard to give up.
It's so there is those. To me, they're the main factors. Is I think is unhealthy lifestyle. As much as the food, it's not getting a correct amount of sleep or not a decent sleeping pattern. Giving your body time to rest and heal. So, I mean, I'd thought about that for years. Leading up to what I had, and that was why I made the decision to leave where I was in security to go and work for my brother again. Was more the lifestyle. With you miss out on so much, your weekends and night shifts and things like that. And work, like I looked at them and I'd rather not do that, so I left. And, it was probably the worst time for me to leave because I gave up. I think I had about 300 hours of sick leave up and things like that from there when I left. And I'd only been gone for a couple of months working for my brother again when I got diagnosed. So if I had stayed, if I was still doing the security, I would have been pretty sweet, like I would have financially been no dramas. But it was just pretty shitty timing for the whole thing, I guess. But you make these choices and you live with them. So I've got through it and I'm getting back on my feet now, which is good.
So what is the diagnosis now? Because I actually know that, I asked you to come on when you had some good results previous. And what's the go with that? What's the status on that? I know you had another result coming 2 days ago.
Yep. So it was a week and a half ago I had another PET scan because they do, after all your treatment's done, they give you time for your body to heal and do that. I think it's about 6 weeks after. So I had another scan done 2 weeks ago and went back on Thursday for the results. And they've actually showed my original scans after it was all clear, but this one, they said that there's something that showed up on both sides of my neck now. They're not certain on what it is because the test's so sensitive. It could be anything. It could be like a slight infection that shows up. I had a cold a week before I went in for it, and they think that could have been an effect of it. So at this stage, I'm in the unknown again. So it's.
How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm all right. Like, it's. I guess I'm being put back in that bit of a lost feeling slightly because of that. With not knowing, I guess. The doctors, he wasn't certain on what it is, so they're going to do, like I said, they do that review every month. What he wants to do is take my case again to do the review. From that, they will determine on what my next steps are. So at this stage, the options they've got is they're not going to worry about it because it'll be nothing. Like it's very small what showed up. So that's one option. The other one is to do another biopsy, which will be I think it's that fine needle one again, where they'll go in and take a bit of sample out of the core of it. Another one is they'll just redo the test in a couple of weeks. Or then they can, if they determine that it is, then they'll put me back on treatment. So they booked me in again for another meeting in a month. I'll find out then what's happening with that. But
okay, can we get you in a month?
Yeah, that's cool.
So in the meantime, you're changing your diet, changing your habits, changing everything for the better.
Yep.
You're a believer in positive thinking and affirmations and all that sort of stuff, mate?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Are you read up on it and things, or
a little bit? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But so that's where I'm at the moment. I've had all my treatment. I didn't mention. I had with my treatment when it was all gone. They changed what my treatment was, so I only had the 2 cycles of chemo, and then after that, then they put me on radiation as well. I did 10 sessions of radiation.
Oh wow!
That actually wasn't too bad. the chemo was shit. Like, it just, the way that it knocks your body around is just unbelievable. Like, people talk about fatigue and things like that, and I've always felt, when you're buggered, I'm fatigued, but after going through that, like, you get a new understanding of what fatigue is, and it just wipes you. Like, with work-wise as well, after my sessions, I was I was basically having the first week off work. After the first session, I was pretty sweet. And then after the next ones, it was just fatigue wiped me out. So I'd spent the first week in bed basically, and then go to work the second week, and then at the end of that week, I'd go back in for treatment again. And yeah, it was just an ongoing cycle with that. So I guess going back to your question before, like how I'm at with the decision or with what's going on now, I guess there is that little bit of fear that if I've got to go through that treatment again, knowing what I'm in for. If I had a choice, I'd definitely go radiation, as that was easy on the body.
But at least you're probably more prepared for it now.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
See, and you've probably got time to put measures in place. To deal with those things.
Yeah. And
get all your financial things in order, and your support networks there.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, brother. Well, mate, it's been awesome chatting to you. As you said, you've listened to every show so far.
Yep.
Every episode so far. What do you want people to get out of this episode with you?
I mean, talk to your family. Talk to your family and friends.
What, in regards to what?
Oh, if you're going through diagnosis of what I've had or something similar, or if you're feeling down, even just talk to somebody. There's always help out there available. And I didn't realize the support network I had until this sort of happened. And like the amount of people that come out and just offer you an ear. That's the best thing. I think the best thing, if you know somebody going through something, the best thing you can do is just be there for them. And that's the thing. Like if anybody wants to talk to me about, if they got some shitty news or anything like that, or if they know somebody close to them that's going through it, if they want to talk to me, like just get in touch with me. I've got no problems talking to anybody and helping them out with it. Like like there's so many avenues out there for help. Like one of the other was at the hospital when they wanted me not to work. There's like charities that can help you with bills and things like that. But I made the conscious decision at the start, like I'm not going to rely on anything like that. I don't want any of that. Like I don't want to hand out for stuff when there's people where I look at it, they're a hell of a lot worse. You got little kids that are going through it, and to me, they're the ones that need all the, if you can give them something to brighten their day, I'd rather, something go to them than me just to pay a bill, like I can get through.
Cool.
So.
Sweet, man. That's a nice message. What sort of messages are you getting from the show? Just
positive, eh? Like, I just can't get over how positive everybody is. Like they've all been through some pretty serious stuff, but everyone's just so upbeat and positive and has such that positive outlook on life. I mean, there's so much people that are a hell of a lot worse off than what you are, and that's what I look at. And like I'm pretty lucky in what I've had. Yeah, it was a shit thing to go through, but it was out of all of the types that you could get. I got a good one, like. So,
yeah, I guess you can look at it like that, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Hobbsie, thanks for coming on today, man.
No worries, thank you.
You mentioned if people wanted to talk to you that you're more than happy to have a chat. Where are you available? How can people find out about you and follow your story?
Yeah, 100%. If anybody wants to get in contact with me, they can either go through yourself, like if they got in touch with you, then you can forward any details on to me and I'll happily talk to them.
I'm being everyone's manager at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they can look me up on Facebook, Mark Hobbs, Hobbs.
Yeah. And because you're a single man, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Yeah.
Looking for love or whatever?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Always looking,
Yep. And just those channels?
And I've just done a bit of co-hosting as well on NRL Footyland Legends that you're doing with one of our other mates. And yeah, so I've been on there as a co-host, and I'll be on again this week if anybody wants to see. It's Wednesday nights around 9 o'clock-ish. They're pretty...
We're a bit liberal with the time, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. But it's all, it's a bit of fun, and we get together and have a bit of chat and muck around, which is good.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So,
all right, Hobbs, thanks for coming on, bro.
No worries, thank you very much.
All right, enjoy it.
Cheers, mate.
See you, bro.
Bye.
I really hope you got some inspiration from this episode. Remember, you're not alone in this world. There's always someone willing to listen and always someone willing to help. All feedback for Against All Odds, good, bad, or indifferent, will be invaluable to me. Please leave a rating and subscribe on your podcast player. Also, feel free to follow or contact me on my Insta page, @SenseiOdell, on the website Against All Odds, that's with a Z. Remember, everyone's fighting their own battles. Stay humble, stay kind, and stay smiling. Good luck with your fight against the odds. Odds out.